Right now, across America, working people are making a quiet decision. They're walking on the dealership lots, looking at $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 price tags on trucks and SUVs that have already been recalled twice before they hit 10,000 miles. And they're turning around, they're walking back to the parking lot, back to the vehicle they already own. And they're saying, you know what? I'm going to make this thing last. That decision, quiet, practical, financially smart, is now the fastest growing trend in the American automotive market. Congratulations, folks. The average vehicle on American roads today is over 12 years old. Imagine that. The aftermarket parts industry just crossed $500 billion globally. Not because people love spending money on repairs, because people are smart enough to do the math. A $60,000 truck payment versus a $1,500 repair on a vehicle you already own free and clear. The math isn't complicated whatsoever. Today we're talking about how to win that bet, how to keep what you've got running like it owes you money, because it does, and which parts are actually worth your time and which ones will put you right back in the same hole the factory already dug for you. This is the Keep It Alive Manifesto. Now let's get into it. Now before we get started, I need to shout out a fellow from the comment section on a couple of videos. You see, AI has gotten so ridiculous on this platform that people think my old ass is computer generated. I think it's because I'm not bouncing around a car lot in basketball shorts with my ball cap backwards. Well, Mr. 7G Force, I appreciate you watching, and no, I'm not going to walk around my home with a selfie stick recording. Just not my style. Thank you anyways. Okay, let's continue. Here's a number the dealerships don't want you to think about. $512 billion with a B. That's the projected size the global automotive aftermarket parts this year. Parts like fluids, filters, gaskets, components, all of it being purchased by people who looked at what the manufacturer built and decided they could do better. And here's the thing, they're right. Because the dirty secret of modern automotive manufacturing is this: the aftermarket industry has spent the last 20 plus years re-engineering the exact components that Detroit keeps getting wrong. Remember the GM AFM lifter disaster? I think we've covered this several times on this channel. The active fuel management system that's been, well, destroying 5.3 liter V8s and Silverados and Tahoes for years now. The factory fix is a TSB and a prayer. The aftermarket fix is a complete AFM delete kit, a set of standard hydraulic lifters, a replacement camshaft, and a tuner that eliminates cylinder deactivation entirely. Companies like Dorman, Melling, and a handful of specialty suppliers have been selling this solution for years, while GM is still pretending the problem wasn't systemic. The aftermarket didn't wait for GM to fix it. It just fixed it. And that's exactly what's happening across the board right now. Whenever a manufacturer has cut a corner, rushed an engineering decision, used a cheaper material to protect a quarterly profit margin, of course, there is an aftermarket company that has already identified the failure point and built something much better. The question isn't whether the aftermarket can save your truck. The question is whether you know which parts to trust and which ones to avoid. Because not all aftermarket parts are created equal, now are they? And buying the wrong one can put you right back where you started, or even worse. Okay, so let's break this down the way a mechanic actually thinks about things. When a part comes across a bench, whether it's OEM or aftermarket, they're thinking three questions. What's it made of? Who actually manufactured it? And does it address the original failure point or just replace it with the same garbage in a different box. Because here's what most people don't know. A lot of what gets sold as aftermarket is the exact same component made in the exact same factory with a different label slapped on it. You paid for a name and got the same problem. So let me tell you what actually matters and what's actually worth your money. Before we talk about parts, we need to talk about fluids, because this is where most people leave money on the table all day long without ever knowing it. Here's the single most important thing you can do to extend the life of your modern truck or SUV. Use the correct fluid specifications every single time, without exception. Not the cheapest oil on the shelf. Not whatever the quick lube place puts in because it's what they stock in bulk. The exact viscosity grade and service classification listed in your owner's manual. Now, for most modern Ford trucks, 5W30 meets spec. For GM trucks with the 5.3 or 6.2, that's 0W20 Dexos 1 Gen 3 certified, fully synthetic. And this one matters more than almost any other vehicle on the road right now because the AFM lifter system is extraordinarily sensitive to oil viscosity and pressure. Running the wrong oil in a GM V8 with active fuel management isn't just suboptimal. It accelerates the exact failure we've been documenting on this channel for months now. For Ram trucks with Cummins diesels, the fluid spec conversion gets even more specific. And we may do a dedicated video on diesel fuel disciplines as the channel grows in size because it deserves its own episode, really. The bottom line on fluids is, it's very simple. Brand doesn't matter as much as specification. Mobil 1, Pennzoil, Platinum, Castrol Edge, Amsoil, any of these fully synthetic options meets your factory spec while outperforming the cheapest conventional oil on the shelf every single time. And the filter matters just as much as the oil, trust me. A quality filter, Wix, Motorcraft, AC Delco, Purelator Boss, is engineered to the correct micron rating for your engine's tolerances. A cheap, no-name filter from the bottom shelf can bypass filtration entirely under cold start conditions when your engine is the most vulnerable. $23 in oil and probably $12 or so gets you a quality filter every 5,000 miles. That's your first line of defense against a $4,000 repair bill. It really is that simple, guys. Okay, guys, so beyond fluids, here are components that separate a vehicle that makes it 200,000 miles and the ones that strand you at about 140. The cooling system. This is the single most neglected system on American vehicles and the one most likely to cause catastrophic engine damage when it fails, and it will fail eventually. Modern aluminum engines are extraordinarily sensitive to cooling system health. A failing water pump, a cracked plastic cooling reservoir, an ignored radiator flush, any one of these turns into a warped head or a cracked block. Given enough time and enough heat cycles, the aftermarket wins here huge, specifically on water pumps. OEM water pumps on several popular platforms, including the Dodge 5.7 liter Hemi, sorry guys, and several Ford applications. They use plastic impellers that degrade and slip over time, reducing the coolant flow before they fail completely. Quality aftermarket replacements from companies like Gates and Dayco, not being paid by them, they're just good at it, use metal impellers that outlast the factory parts by a significant margin. It's not even close. This is exactly the kind of upgrade the aftermarket excels at, identifying a known factory weakness and engineering way past it. The Serpentine belt and tensioner system. This gets ignored until it snaps. When it snaps on a modern vehicle, you're not just stranded, You're potentially looking at a hydrolock situation. If you've got an interference engine, replace your serpentine belt at the manufacturer's recommended interval. Replace the tensioner at the same damn time, because a worn tensioner will destroy a new belt in short order. Gates and Dayco, once again, are your go-to brands here. Not being paid by either one of them. Once again, wish I was. All right, brake components. This is where the aftermarket gets complicated because the quality variance is enormous. On the high end, EBC, Hawk, StopTech, PowerStop, these companies are engineering brake components that way outperform OEM in real-world driving conditions, particularly in towing and load-bearing applications, where the factory pads are often undersized for the truck's actual capability. On the low end, the budget rotors and pads that get stacked at the end caps of the parts store are often cast from inferior metallurgy that warp under the first real hard use. They'll glaze under sustained heat. The rule of thumb is simple. On a braking component, never buy the cheapest option on the shelf. Your brakes are the last line of defense between your truck and whatever is in front of it. This is not where you want to save 20 bucks, guys. It's just not. Okay, spark plugs and ignition components. Modern engines are extraordinarily sensitive to ignition system health in ways that old carbureted engines simply were not. Okay, a misfiring cylinder on a modern direct injection engine doesn't just affect performance. It dumps raw fuel to the combustion chamber, washes the cylinder walls, and accelerates wear. NGK and Denso are your benchmark brands here. Make sure, I know, but make sure and gap them correctly to factory spec, just in case. Because that one time you don't, you know what's going to happen. Replace them at factory intervals or slightly before if you've been towing a bunch of stuff or just beating the hell out of things. All right, now let's talk about the systems most owners completely ignore until they fail catastrophically. The transmission. Automatic transmission fluid is a maintenance item. It is not a lifetime fluid, regardless of what your owner's manual or the dipshit at the dealership tells you, okay? The push towards extended or lifetime transmission fluid intervals was a cost of ownership marketing scheme/decision, not an engineering recommendation. Real-world driving, towing, stop-and-go traffic, temperature extremes degrade automatic transmission fluid far faster than the theoretical laboratory conditions those intervals recommendations were built on, okay? If you're towing regularly, change your transmission fluid every 30 to 40,000 miles. I'd throw a little Lucas in there, that's just me. If you're not towing, 50 to 60,000 miles is a reasonable, real-world interval. Neglecting this single service item is responsible for more premature transmission failures than almost any other maintenance oversight on modern trucks and SUVs. Okay, the transfer case and the differential. Same principle applies here, folks. These fluid reservoirs are often ignored, mostly because there's no service light or vehicle warning lights of any sort or obvious symptoms, and no dealer service advisor is pushing an upsell on them being serviced, which is odd. I wonder why. By the time a transfer case or differential starts making noise, guess what? That's right. It's too damn late. Check your owner's manual. If not, get online. Find the service intervals. Put it on your calendar. Do this. This is not complicated, guys. This is just discipline. If you want to be the 200,000+ guy they talk about at the coffee shop, you got to do these little things to get there. Trust me, it's not that hard. All right, let's talk about the fuel system real quick. Modern direct injection engines have a carbon buildup problem that carbureted and port injection engines never had. Because direct injection sprays fuel directly into the cylinder rather than through the intake port. The intake valves never get that fuel bath that traditionally kept them clean. Over time, carbon deposits build on the back of the intake valves, restricting airflow and causing rough idle. Most importantly for most folks, reduce power and increase fuel consumption. The fix is an intake valve cleaning service, either a chemical walnut shell blast procedure or a quality fuel system treatment used at regular intervals as a preventative measure. BG Products, Liquid Moly, and Seafoam all make legitimate fuel system treatments that address this issue. These are not snake oil, folks. Used correctly at reasonable intervals, they reduce carbon buildup and extend the service life of the intake system significantly these days. If you've got a direct injection engine and you've never thought about intake valve carbon, think about it now. I think it would be a good time to do so. All right, so here's the bottom line. The manufacturer has made it very clear where their priorities are. Quarterly earnings, emissions compliance, I guess, technology packages that justify sticker prices that would have seemed insane 10 years ago. Your reliability is not their priority. Your financial survival is definitely not any part of their concern. But here's what they don't count on. The American working man, he's stubborn, he's resourceful, and turns out pretty damn good at math. A vehicle you own free and clear, properly maintained with quality fluids and quality components, will almost always beat a $70,000 payment for a truck with a recall notice already in the mail. The aftermarket exists because the working man demands better than what Detroit is willing to build. And the aftermarket has obviously delivered. Know your fluid specs, use quality filters, stay ahead of your cooling system, change your transmission fluid, don't ignore your differentials. And when a factory component fails, find out if the aftermarket has already engineered a better solution before you let a dealer charge you dealer prices to install the same damn part that failed in the first place. Keep what you've got. Make it last. Make them miss the payment you're not making. That's the manifesto, guys. Drop a comment. What's the highest mileage vehicle in your driveway right now? And what's your secret to keeping that thing alive? Because I want to know. Hit the subscribe button, please. New videos damn near every single day. I'm the Highwayman, and I'll see you at the next exit.